Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of DSQ's Behind the Screens podcast. I'm returning your host, Sir Pigasus, but today we've got ourselves another very, very special guest. It is owner of Dutch-based organization Godalions. You might see him as Hectorian Warrior, but all of us in the know will know him as Tommy. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. I'm curious what type of topics you have for me, and I'm excited to share my story.
Of course. I think it's best to start. I mean, we can somewhat tell by the accent. I mentioned where the organization is based, and of course, there is an Ajax flag in the background. But I'm going to ask the typical first aid questions. Who are you and
Mhm.
where'd you come from?
So I'm Tom. Here at we are Terry Warriors, like you said. I'm based in from the Netherlands. Like the flag would Ajax would say, I'm from Amsterdam. I'm 23 years old, and that's who I am.
Awesome. And well, why esports? You've ended up owner of a big organization within the country, but how did you get to that point in the first place?
So originally, I've always used to love gaming, so that will be where my competitive side would come from. I used to actually play for Godalions back in 2018, as like I think I was like a gold at that time. Still not that good anyway, but at the time of gold, I was in something called Godalions Platinum. We used to play back in the day in like the European League where you would play for keys at the time, and then we would be coached. And afterwards, I stopped for a very long time, anything competitively. And then 2023, I came back. I saw an open spot actually, a managerial spot to be team manager here. And then within half a year of that, since 2023 January, I had become actually the owner. Basically, it
Mhm.
came from me being team manager to head of Rocket League, to then the at the time owner leaving, and since then I've been together at the beginning with two other people, and now with one other person. I'm the co-owner of Godalions, and then slowly I've been growing it from its original British side of things to more Dutch side of things because I want to compete in Benelux, and I was doing
Mhm.
everything related to Rocket League.
So was it always Rocket League that you were centered around when it came to Godalions when you first joined?
From my side, yes. Like, of course, the organization did a lot of other stuff as well, but I was only focused on Rocket League. Oh, I did.
How did you get yourself involved with Godalions that first time? Did you just find it completely on a whim? Did a friend get you involved, or was it
So
contact from the organization?
yeah. So actually, the originally Godalions came from a streamer, and I used to follow that streamer. He then made the org, and that's why in the beginning I immediately also joined as one of the players because at the time I was basically a fan. You know, it's a long time ago. I was young, and then afterwards, I think I accidentally found it again, and when I joined the Discord again, and then I found the open application, and I was like, yeah, let me try it again. Let me get back into things.
Had you had any experience before that in these kinds of management roles? Is that a background that is a part of you before Godalions, or was that just
Uh,
completely on a whim?
in terms of esports, I would have not really any experience before. The study I did was also in a type of management. It was in IT management, so that in that sense, management experience I've sort of had, and they learned me it. But esport related, nothing at all.
Are there links though between that IT management and managing an organization? Could you see any clear overlaps?
I think mainly it's the managing the people side of things that helps because you're as IT manager only you're mainly only working online anyway, and even with
Mhm.
esport the same thing. You only work online, so in that sense it was a bit easy to communicate and work together with other players or other trainer coaches whatever we had. So in that sense it's pretty similar. The only thing the goal is different. One is esport, one is IT.
Awesome. And you said that when you first joined that you somewhat pulled it away from the British side of things, moved towards more the Dutch scene, the Benelux, which of
Hmm.
course I've seen firsthand. There's been a lot of success in that
Hmm.
regards following
Hmm.
the organization. But I was wondering
Hmm.
what that transition was like when you started to move up the
Hmm.
Godalions ladder and started to steer it in that kind of direction. Was that the only real change of direction you made, or were there more
um,
differences?
so when the beginning is joined, believe we were in APAC at the time. I think we made one time even top the Winter Cup at the time. In 2023, we made it like the top 16. There was main event we made one time with our squad. And just because a lot of things changed inside the org, and eventually our old owner left, he was also mainly heavy a Valorant person, so he didn't really know a lot about Rocket League. I think after he left, I tried to boost up more competitively. I think in the beginning of the year and the year before that, Godalions was a bit more community sided. So in 2023 and I want to slowly go more competitively. To be honest, the first time I worked with 3 great guys, but they were already a bit older and a bit in the past they were a bit better than they were now. So we didn't really did any good in 2023 in the first two tournaments actually. But then in 2024, I just took a gamble basically with 3 newer players to that scene. It was at the time Nick Beast, Inspire, and Maiko. And they just
wow.
totally, yeah, they just totally destroyed everything. They the first tournament they did together, they were second. Then it became first. Then we had to do a whole restructure. Still became first, luckily. And then the last one was third and fourth. So I think it's mainly that we changed from competitive community to competitive in 2024, and now actually this year we're starting to focus a bit more on the community side of things. So we're joining a lot more of the grassroots scene of all the leagues, etc. So yeah, switching again a bit more from competitive to grassroots and community. So we're trying to mix and match it both.
Is there a reasoning for these switches, or is it just making sure that one part of the community isn't left behind, or is it just anything about the competitive sphere at the moment?
I think because I myself already had a good experience from the competitive team, I think I can still handle it. Like we're also, for example, competing now in the ROS, so the Rocket League Norway, the elite division there. We actually made the playoffs, so in 3 weeks we will go to the land there, and then we will hopefully compete, of course, for the win. So we are still competing competitively. This year we also competed in the Luxembourgish League, stuff like that. So we try to compete regionally, and with RCS, basically we're nowadays a bubble org in a sense, trying to push more towards day 3 if we can make it right. But I think because we already sort of established that sense of we're okay and pretty decent now in competitive side. I want personally to refocus again on the community side of things, especially as I now got a few new team managers who's helping me with that, and then a lot of other plans that we probably have for next season.
So it sounds like in the competitive sense, you just feel like you've got that ball rolling now, so you can still have this work whilst you can laser focus on that community to get that moving again as well, which of course seems intelligent. There's been a lot of success on that competitive side. You said that you like to play in national leagues. I look in just random European national leagues, and it feels like there is always a Godalions team. You mentioned Norway, of course. I've definitely seen a few others where you've been poaching about. I think that's Pop Esports Masters you were talking
Yes,
about
exactly.
for
Yes.
Luxembourg. I actually knew a few of the players there. I've actually managed them previously in the past, which is quite a funny coincidence there. But when I'm talking about some of the highest level of the game, you mentioned being a bubble org. I mean, I think of Khan, Jaya, Safix, Nick Beast, Inspire, DevC, all these names, Mako as well, of course, who's gone on to be very successful. You fostered a lot of talent here at Godalions, and I'm actually going to ask for a bit of a comparison with that flag that you wear behind you. Ajax, somewhat known to be one of these academy football teams nowadays that makes these fantastic players, and they go on to do some amazing things, say in the Premier League. You think of talents like Suarez, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I mean, I'm sure you know all the names yourself better than I do. Is that what Godalions are looking to be, or are we thinking back to more, the Johan Cruyff eras where you want to be that top team in Europe? What is the direction that Godalions are looking for?
Personally, for myself, and what I try to push on to Godalions as well, is I want Godalions to be a place where people get a chance to maybe compete in, for example, leagues that they normally don't know about. Get a chance where they get supported either via, let's say, get a jersey, get some travel cost paid, get to land, etc. But my main goal would be that in the current situation we are with with how big we are, and also in terms of financial side of things. I think I want to sort of be a in a way stepping stone. Not that I only have to step, that's it, but I want them to be appreciative of the fact that they've been here and I liked it here, and that then they can go on to do something great. We don't offer, for example, that much in terms of coaching, but I think more that we offer opportunities and we try to link them together with other people that might give them a good opportunity. Like I don't know, of course, but I'm assuming, for example, for Nick and Inspire, they're probably always not going to be set forever in the Benelux because they know, next to them being very great players, I think as well, winning the first time or immediately after that, or being second, they immediately got, I'm pretty sure, always offers from other teams trying to get them put in the Benelux to get there. So I think stuff like that helps players to get more recognition. And I think that's the main goal. Like, I think mainly, at least I would say 90% of the players always say they're very happy that have been with us often. So I think that's often my goal, just to help them go on to make greater things in their careers.
So it feels like, you know, a lot of this conversation has been that back and forth between the community and the competitive, the grassroots and the highest level. And as much as we've tried to kind of see which one direction is bigger than the other, it seems like it's more of a little bit of a symbiotic relationship here. You're looking to build up the community, grab those players that have potential, show them to the world, and then see them off into that top level. Is that a bit more accurate to what the vision is of GDL?
Maybe so, because it's as low as I always tend to want people, if they ever tell me I'm gonna get an X amount of salary that, for example, we cannot offer, I'm the first one to say, please go take it. We know how scarce, in a sense, any salary is, or how expensive esport is. So getting anything in that sense is already a benefit for them. So I always try to push them, please go and go to Great Goose. We will be okay. I will make sure I will get a new team. Just to make sure that and there's a fine thing I always say, make sure if you make it really big, just mention us. That's it.
So just don't forget where you came from, but by all means, go out and do what you need to do. I do love that. I do love that. And I'm curious then, moving forward, you said you want to build up the community and partake in a lot of these community leagues as well. You've got teams in lots of these community leagues. You've got teams at lots of these regional tournaments as well. So Godalions has got to have quite the team behind them. How big is that team for Godalions, and what is it like, you know, getting these group of like-minded individuals together?
So yes, we have a decent team. I think, for example, but we also have a lot of teams who don't need that much help. So our current, we call it Godalions Academy, our Godalions, our sort of original rival Rush team, a German team, and a team, for example, Horizon, that's probably known by you. Those three teams, for example, almost need no help from me. Horizon, of course, also have their own manager, but these three teams, I've made sure that their captains are serious enough to do everything themselves. For other teams, for example, we have a few teams in the Royalty Series and the 86 League. We have a team with two team managers for it. One is J Leon and one's Bill. I think from RC you should both know them as well.
Yeah.
And then we also have Zaniak, who is helping a bit with two other teams. So we have around 4 or 5 team managers, and then the captains who do the other stuff. And then I tend to give them different managers here and there some pointers, but it's often very smooth. We only have people who are in a way serious that I don't need to help them that much, and I tend to then just only focus on the maybe the higher level teams, the RCS teams that we have. That's it, and I tend to focus more on the regional leagues. So I tend to build the team around me with capable people that I can trust, in a sense, always.
What is that screening process like then, to find those people that are trustworthy for those positions? How do you know before you put there that they are trustworthy, that they are serious, that they're not going to cause you or the organization name any problems?
Yeah. So I think it's mainly I tend to have a conversation. I will scout with them, so I want to see a vibes, how they vibe with this person, but I also want to give them a track record. So I want them to give me experiences. It depends, of course, what I need. like Jalen and Bill, the purpose for them were to be in grassroots scenes, I would probably not put them on an RCS team because I don't think they have
Yeah.
experience for that. But
Right.
so, and then I have other people who I've known myself as in managerial task in with RCS team managers. So it really depends what their skill set is, but how I feel with them. And then I always give them like a month time sort of tryout. So if I give them a task to create a team, if I don't see within 2-3 weeks at least a few tryouts already, then they're most probably already gone, because within 3 weeks I expect 3 to 4 weeks I expect you to have at least a few tryouts already done, because often it's pretty okay-ish, decently easy to find some players. So it's really like a tryout period plus how I feel about them and their track record.
Okay, so say I am an aspiring captain slash want to be team manager, and I want to impress an organization owner. What is your one big piece of advice you'd give to anyone watching that wants to be in those positions?
Good question. I think mainly I, I think like I said the program experience. I don't think you in per se do need that much experience. I think you can always, for example, try yourself to be a manager, right? So that's why you can easily get experience. You can ask any player, and they're probably gonna be often okay-ish with you helping them. I would say start with a bit, just maybe just SLs, 1900s, 2Ks, so you can start your way up, and to impress somebody. Like I said, have some sort of track record, but I think it's mainly how you act as a person. How serious are you? It's not about having 10 hours a day to do this, because I'm not going to respond, for example, 10 hours a day to you, so I don't need you 10 hours a day,
Yeah.
right? But it's like more like be available, but especially be very serious on what you do and get the things done you say. So whenever you talk whenever you say you want to get a tryout done. I think it's just how you show yourself and how serious you are with the actions you do. I think that's the best thing as a manager. It's always hard, for example, to start with getting good scrims. That's always the first thing that you need to get used to. Who are good, who are in a sense players you don't want to play with your team, because there might be just a bit below your level that you want to train with, stuff like that. I think it's just confidence in a sense as well. Confidence
Yeah.
and be serious.
Of course, takes a lot of confidence to go out there and be offering players if you want to be in these positions. I know that's something that I personally, as a caster, struggle with sometimes. Just going to people's DMs and being like, "Hey, I promise I'm good enough. Please hire me," and all of that kind of thing. I mean, it's a very freelance-ish world, isn't it? For
Yeah.
esports, you really have to be your own advertiser. You really have to back yourself and. I mean, say what you want to be said to get yourselves in these spots. But I know that's on your side of things as the owner of Godalions and wanting to build off these teams. There is that bit of a scouting process, isn't there, to find a lot of these players and these teams and pick
Mhm.
them up. I'm curious how you handle that, especially because you're in so many different sectors. How do you get that process done?
So actually, it's mainly when I get into leagues, it's mainly because I know a player already that's from that region. So, for example, how we started with the Benelux, well, that was just, I think, a random decision where I don't recall my conversation with Nick and Inspire. I know they were a duo, and I think they got Microdance third. I think I found them through something. I think they already in previous qualifiers, and basically, yeah, I found them, and after that, it started a bit easy, because after that, I started to get to know more players in the Benelux, for example, like DevC, stuff like that, like um, etc. And then what happened is it spiraled in the thing that I got more used to bubble leveling players. So I knew more of them because I used to team with them, and with more and more and more, and then it made it easy, because you would already be screaming against these people, so you would know who was good, who's bad, you would talk to these players, so you know their reputation, who in a sense might have been lucky to get a high result, who have not been lucky, so you know who to choose. I
Yep.
think, and then for example, to get in regional leagues, I think it was purely just because via I know. So we went in the Swedish league, for example, because we already knew the boys in the Swedish league. We knew them through one of the managers at the time. Ahmed, who was with us, he used to have them in his
Oh,
own
yeah.
org before he joined us. So that's why we joined him. That's why they joined us. Same with Rifle Rush. I think we reached out to them. I just scouted a team that was I knew that's where we had at the time Quint, Evergen, and Tadpole in our team in Rifle Rush. So it's just barely knowing people and getting to know them, and it's scouting based on what the players feel the best for. So I tend to work with one or two players that I know already, and then I trust their vision and their like knowledge of the game that they will get me the good team. Because I don't scout the whole team. Often don't scout 3 players. I will scout 1 or 2 players that I already know often or know of, and then they will search the second or the third player. Basically.
It feels like a big aspect of Godalions and how it works as a whole is finding those people that you trust, no matter what that position is, whether it's a team manager, whether it's a captain of a team, you're the player you're going to build around. I've had very calculated delegations to try and make everything as self-sustaining as possible. So that's Godalions looking out to others. I'm going to ask, are there many players that actually come directly to Godalions and ask for you to assist them, or is it more the other way around?
So I think some of the higher level players then come to us and ask, in a sense, could you offer us something, because they would love to play for us, but then it's often it would be that we sadly cannot offer what they would want maybe. So I would send them on to either another org I know, or I would just tell them, I can offer you this until now, we can stay together until you find something else, please take that. But it's often more like the maybe like 2Ks, 2.1K teams sometimes still want to join us fully. So like even some, if they like see this and they want a full team wants to join us, that will be okay. We won't really make new teams ourselves, but if a whole team comes as a whole, we are most likely being okay to let them join us if we know they're serious enough. So we do have teams coming to us, sometimes players coming to us that they want to join, but often players actually come back to us. So we have like a sort of a more community team. We call it Godalions Moonlight, and there's a guy. He's called Sick. He used to play for us, and he was like on leave for 6 months. Same with Kai and Mythic, and then they came back after a long time, and now they're playing for us again. But I think it also is that fact that why don't we don't need that many new teams often, because teams stay long for us. Like I said, Horizon has been with us probably like 2.5 years already. You know, Wavy, Tom, TMB, and Dynasty has been like maybe 8 months with us. Sammy, as the manager, has been a long time with us, and Moikster and Aqua has also been pretty long with us. Aqua's been actually very long, same with Wavy. So we have teams who are here for 8, 9, 10 months, a year, or whatever. So they tend to stay with us and then tend to want to come back. So same thing happened with Jair, for example. He was first season with us in our RS when we worked together with an org, and now second he want again to work with us RS, stuff like that. Things like I also work with different orgs, so I work with different orgs where I help them in regional leagues. For example, I work with NXT. I worked with them in Rifle Rush. Last season we became second with them, and then after that these boys wanted, for example, to play one qual RCS under me, because I would get them a stream and stuff like that. So yes, people do come to us, but it's more often for like either regional leagues, or it's just below that bubble scene that would come to us, I would say.
Incredible. And you did actually allude to NXT being an organization you worked with, but you said a little bit before that there are some other orgs that you would help push people towards if you quite couldn't fulfill the needs of the players. What are the organizations that Godalions have a relationship with? Because there are a bunch of Benelux orgs, especially in Rocket League at the moment. I mean, that's the reason they were able to make Rocket Benelux when it existed for quite some time. So what are the relationships like with those Benelux orgs, and which other ones that stand out to you?
I think at the moment, of course, the Rocket Benelux bit, Rocket Benelux stopped last year, so Rocket Benelux itself isn't continuing. But Pop I'm pretty sure they are coming back next year. So that's where some Benelux org are still there. For example, where NXT, because I work closely with them myself. That's where NXT has a relationship with them. Within the Benelux, for the rest, we don't really work with anybody else, of course, we know we do. I do have here and there have talks with them with Straalbora. They are a Belgium org who mainly focus on lands, if I'm pretty sure. But with other Benelux org at the moment, we don't really do that much with. I don't think, and if there are bad, it's just there's no real reason for it because there's no Rocket Benelux at the moment. So it's very hard to then find common ground. Like I saw, for example, some Benelux orgs are now focusing more on the German scene or are now more focusing on the French scene instead of the Benelux. They switched it up because there are sadly no Rocket Benelux.
And what is that like for you then? Just trying to build upon the Benelux scene. You do advertise yourself as a Dutch-based organization. Of course, you do have teams in other regional forms, but that does feel like that's where home is for you guys. But Benelux, like we've said, isn't doing so well at the moment. What kind of impact has that had on the organization, and has that got you thinking about anything moving forward?
Yeah, I think after the Rocket Benelux, we heard that they were stopping. I think we tended to focus more maybe in general in Europe. So we became more broad in that sense. For example, we started to compete in Ireland at the time with Shark, Tomster as the main duo, and then Keenan would join, for example, for the Lens, and we were pretty successful in that. I think it was more of a switch. I think it was a bit, in a way, unfortunate because we finally had like a very good base in some regional league where we were like really on top. So it was a bit unfortunate. Luckily, we could still, for example, join Pop via contact of us. He had a spot in there, and we could join it, so we could still compete against Benelux. And there was still some like NXT was there, for example, and then a known org like Sentient and Talion were there as well. The Luxembourgish org. We know them from the Benelux. Sentient always being a common face there. Battalion trying it here and there. And I think I've seen them also in quals. So there were some known faces. That was nice, actually. Especially when we went to the media day, it was in a way fun to meet these people for the first time in Luxembourg. But yeah, I think it's more that we switched our focus. So after that, we already also started to compete, like I said, in Norway, in Germany in the same year, in Ireland. So we became a bit more broad than only truly focused on Rocket Benelux. And we also started to work with players that were not Dutch, for example, because in 2024, most of our RCS team were mainly Dutch players. So nowadays, I would say we're more European based, I would say. Of course, I'm the head of Rocket League and Esports Executive. That's why sort of it's still Dutch in that sense, right? But it's more European, I would say, nowadays.
And have you enjoyed that delve into the rest of Europe? Because that has been that must be quite the process. There've been like such a small portion of Europe, and now stretching out wide. I mean, you got Scotland one side, Norway the other. That's pretty intense.
Yeah, like it is a bit intense because, for example, I'm always on the lookout now for any regional league I could potentially join. We still tried to again get back to Swedish league. It didn't work out, so it's maybe a bit more not frustrating, but it's a bit more harder to get a base somewhere because even with Rocket League Ireland, it's gonna start for us coming down a bit. The interest from our side is getting a bit less because we used to have an Irish co-owner, Chrissy, who is not with us now anymore because he stepped down from himself due to his he was getting very busy. So he said it's fair if I step down, and that was one person who would always be connected with us from Rocket League Ireland. So it's sometimes a bit hard to keep these connections. I think we will probably play in Norway for a very long time because we have a good connection with them. Especially as I, as a person, also help organize their streams, for example. So, and I work with another Norwegian org there. I stream also for them. Bitfix, I stream also. I make sure they get streams. So I work with some orgs there, and personally, I like the scene very much. So I'm pretty sure we will keep competing in there, and we'll definitely come back in Pop next year. So those leagues come back in a sense. But yeah, it's a bit harder because with Benelux it was very nice, and we saw if it was going to be multiple years, they always had 4 to 6 tournaments. it was constantly we
Yeah.
could focus on it. And now the only thing that's hard, we try to find a new home in that sense.
Yeah. Benelux was amazing. I mean, I miss it so much. I used to do a lot of those team streams actually for Godalions for Benelux. And I remember, I mean, even still, when I was a part of it, which was a lot in its final year of being about,
Mhm.
I feel like that still was a little bit past its prime time. I felt like the year before that was when Benelux was really, I mean, the tournament in Europe outside of anything French. It was incredible. So I'm very much hoping for it to return, and I'm sure that sentiment is shared with the rest at Godalions, and
Yeah.
we'll see what the future brings, I guess. But lots of regional leagues, lots of
Mhm.
different contacts you have to make, but a consistency has been that Godalions do tend to try and send a team out for the RLCS. And well, the season is going to start very, very soon. And I'm curious, are there any plans there for a Godalions RLCS team again?
Yeah, we do have a team. We will probably announce them in a week or two, I would say, just
Okay.
a bit before, especially because now we're all focusing on. Well, first, for example, we are also there will actually be a tweet out tonight about it. We're trying to focus also a bit now. There's a new project actually came for us. That's League of Legends, the female scene for us. So we will try to get
Oh,
a team. I think it was the Nova series, and then eventually, hopefully, Game Changing at the end of the year. Next year, sorry. I got a new, an old player for me. She came back to me. I said like, I have a project. Uh, do you want to work together? So she came to me with a whole project. She has a lot of experience in it, I think, and she brings even a coach and another manager with her next to her being project manager. So I'm excited to see where that goes. So yeah, and for the rest, we still have to. Probably when it goes out a bit later, but we'll probably have announced already a few of our teams that are already competing in 86 League Road this series.
yes.
We're still posting them, and then like I said, and focusing on the land even we're having to go to. So we'll probably post it in 2 weeks. We already have a team, and we were working with it for a long time. Actually, it was a
Okay.
team that was previously for something else, and then I got personally a lot of trust in how they are as a team. They're very serious, and their level also. It is they were already very high level. That's two sort
Mhm.
of bit more senior, very high level, decently level high players. Especially in the past, they've had some decent results. Still last year, still decent, still a bubble. But yeah, they have been competing, getting better and better, winning scrums against some pretty decent teams nowadays. So that gave me the confidence that I will make them my main team instead of finding another team.
Okay.
I'll work with them, and yeah, we'll definitely also stream it. We already have, for example, our cast. We already in theory we should have had our cast stuck for that. So we already have our stream set up, everything. That's nice. Yeah, so that will probably be exciting. The only bit of annoyance that it's in exactly the same weekend as the LAN. So for me, for our
Mhm.
players, that the players that are in our Norwegian squad, they will not be playing for us for RCS, but they have to, for example, play physically there. And
Yes.
then at the time, it's also going to be a bit hard, maybe hard managing it from my side, from being outside in Norway and not from home. I have to get everything ready, so it will be probably a bit challenging, but I think it will also be fun to be an experience again. So yeah, that's the only downside, sort of.
I'm excited to see all these announcements. Well, one really, got my eyebrows moving. Let's just say here a mention of, was it League of Legends? You said, and a potential game changers team to work, a completely different game to Rocket League. Now, when I've been around Godalions, of course, I know it's been around longer than I've been involved with it whatsoever. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this at all. I'm the production lead for Godalions. I haven't mentioned that the entire
Yeah,
podcast, but
you are, yes.
yeah, I help them organize some of their streams, especially back when Benelux existed. I was my most active. But in my time being a part of Godalions, the only two esports that I ever really saw was Rematch and Rocket League. League of
Hmm?
Legends is quite the venture. Has that ever been a part of Godalions' history? I know that you have had a past in other esports.
um, I'm pretty sure League of Legends have never been part of us. Maybe it was like some local small team, maybe, but I don't think I've ever seen it. In other esports, yes. Actually, in 2023, we had a lot of Valorant action. Actually,
Yeah.
I think we mainly focused at the time. We had a at the time one of the other co that's Blaze. He focused also on it next to the
Mhm.
ex-owner that left us. We had also game changer team in that. So we have some.
Oh wow.
We had Valorant game changer team. I think it is pretty okay. I don't recall their result because I was not involved at all in Valorant. It
Right.
was purely Blaze and the other owner, the ex-owner. But I think they did pretty well. I think some of the players are still playing, some are not. And in the past, I think we competed in Rainbow Six Siege. We competed
Yeah.
in Counter CS:GO. Um, think that was about it. I think that was about it. Yeah, I mean, maybe some other game like a small, maybe like I don't know, like like Tekken or whatever, like Smash Bros. Something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I think that will probably leave it. Like mainly was I think we tried Siege very much, and then CS:GO in the past, and then Valorant was a decent part of us. We also went to in 2023. We went to a LAN, Epic LAN, at that time. Um, so yeah, Valorant was heavily for us, and then rematch actually this year we competed. I think for a few months, 1 to 3 months something. I think we were in a way consistently like a top 15, top 20 team always. And in the end, it just didn't work out anymore. The players either didn't have the time or motivation or whatever, and others had other opportunities they want to focus on, and it was totally okay. For example, we from that actually we still, I still work with some of them. One of them is one of our main casters actually, and the other guy is helping me with the Discord stuff. So we still have some of them around, and I believe we officially still have a team, but I think it's to keep a spot in a regional league.
Okay.
But that's a bit vague because I don't really know 100% about it. But I think the same guy who does our Discord still helps us with that, with one of the old players who has that team basically there with some friends. Keep the spot.
So, with yourself being so Rocket League oriented, this used to be a player, used to be the Rocket League manager, now owner, now looking to add League of Legends to the mix. How has that worked out for you? How have you made that happen? Have you had to add more people to the team? Because that is
Uh,
quite a
hmm,
different community.
yeah. It's very very early stage still. So I think she came to me. She came to me with the project like maybe 3 4 weeks ago. So it's very early still. Um, and in the end, I don't think we have to do, or myself even, I'll have to do a lot about it to adapt to it because I think
Okay.
she brought as well a coach, another manager from herself, and then she's going to be a project manager. So she luckily will run most of things. And to be honest, that was also one of the things I want to tell her. Like, we have no capacity to run a whole new project. That if you want to have this project on a Godalions, I can totally support you. You've been a player for us in the past. You've always been very serious. You've helped us with other things. Uh, when we were trying to also have a female team in Rocket League at the time. So I want to give her a shot, and I hope it will succeed. It can also not succeed, but that will be totally fine. Then we gave it a go. It's what sometimes happened. We also tried to we give two people a chance in Overwatch. In the end, it also didn't work, so it never really got out because it never went further in the project's phase. It's just how
Mhm.
things goes. We give people a chance with one project on. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Rematch worked out in a sense, but also it was short term lived.
Yeah.
But it's fine. We want to explore more things. I'm always open for new games. We might even be thinking of maybe doing something with F1 or sim racing.
Oh, yeah.
Um, as we have a manager who does do this in his spare time. I don't know how high level he does it, but he likes this, so I'm probably gonna sit down with him in the soon in the future to talk this out if it will be a possibility. So anything will be possible. I will, for me personally, I would love to go to compete in as many games and I think with the instance as well. If we can, if it's decently competitive, why not? I'm also thinking of maybe putting some local guy I know who's a old classmate of mine. He used to play Smash. I think it's like maybe top 20 or top 30 maybe or something
Ooh.
in Netherlands or something, and maybe like at least in our province, I think he's like top 5. So maybe that will be nice. I know he's going to some LAN as well soon, so maybe.
I know that as soon as you mentioned sim racing, I think producer Freddie probably perked up. That's what he loves to do. He's always got a race. Usually when I message him, he's always got a. I've just got a message from Freddie. He said I did.
That's good. That's nice to hear.
So maybe that's one of the people you have to talk to if you're interested in sim racing and Godalions. Who knows? This might be
See,
the
already making new
opportunity.
connections, huh? That's how we do
Yeah, exactly. And that seems to be something that Godalions is very consistently great at doing, is just building these connections
it.
from
Yeah.
an unlikely spot and then just having the trust to see if it'll grow or not, especially in those newer avenues like rematch. I mean, that must have been quite the trip, having that be such a new game that had so much
Yeah.
excitement behind it. It must have been quite the dash to get those players together. I'm curious if you said that might be petering out, but you're not 100% sure. Yeah, what do you think the future is for Godalions and rematch?
I think it truly again is down to if somebody wants to pick up the project. We still have 1 or 2 people connected to it inside the org. Maybe they want to pick it up fully. I don't know, to be honest. But it would always be like if some of the old players maybe want to have their new team playing on the Godalions, I would totally be open for it. It's still a developing game, so it's also still unsure how big it will be. But having a team there would be nice. Of course, I do want it to be a bit competitive, so I'll probably aim for a top 15, top 10 team. I think that's within reason to do. So yeah. Maybe there's a future, but it will purely be if a team comes to us, or a player that wants to, or a player with a few mates, or somebody wants to pick up a project. Yeah.
Incredible. I'm for Godalions moving forward. Then League of Legends is that big project you want to work on. You've got rematch, which has its own stuff going on at the moment, and Rocket League is well. I'm curious how the general game environments tend to affect Godalions. Rocket League especially has, let's just say, had its criticisms for how it deals with the grassroots, and of course regional leagues are struggling to survive, like Benelux is
Definitely.
well. How does that force you to act as an org owner that wants to be able to thrive in these spaces?
I think it's trying to support as much as I can these leagues. When I joined 86, I immediately tried to get, for example, 4 or 5 teams in. I talked a lot with, I think the person who was doing a lot of the work. I think it was NH Hammer. I tried to help him with, for example, when I saw some rules, I would give suggestions to me like this a bit, it's pretty unclear. Maybe it's better to edit these things. Stuff like, for example, we always play Sunday Esports. We do Royal Series, and even regional leagues. Whenever for Rocket Benelux, we strive to always do the best we can. We would always be streaming. Would always be posting about it with RS. Where some orgs still stream occasionally, or some always do. But we're one of the orgs who are basically almost streaming all our games. Actually, after this podcast, I hope I will see that my team has won and made also the cup final. So that means we will be playing twice at LAN within Norway. But yeah, I think it's mainly just connecting to the people. Like yesterday, I had a call with Pop, and basically they talked to a lot of orgs because they work with a lot of orgs, and they were, for example, very happy that we were very excited about working with them again, seeing what their new plans are. And what they have in future for us. And so it's just supporting them. Like I think the only real way for a league to survive is if orgs support them. Actually, I think you can say the same thing, for example, about one of a huge thing that you are very known of is RSC. That's also very it's very dependent on the orgs, the franchise that play for them. Like if they don't do it, then it will be hard. Like you can already see that financially, it of course, because in esport there's a lot less money nowadays. It's already going a bit down. Luckily, you still have a lot of franchise who who actually want to join. You have more than RSC can even allow. So that's still good. But I think without these orcs, no league will survive. So we mainly try to be as much supportive as we can within this league to help them and support as much as you can.
Yeah, I mean, I can vouch for RSC. I'm literally wearing their hexagons in the background. I've been a caster there for a long time. I've also been a manager there for an organization for quite some time. This was actually my first season and quite a lot that I haven't been managing. But yeah, that's got a whole application process because, like you said, only 20 orgs can fit into the final spot, and you have a whole stage where you go through interviewing. I've obviously been in those interview stages. So you're not a guaranteed stay after a season. You have to go through it again every time, especially if you change your management, and you're asked about all the rules, what you would do in this kind of scenario. You're given situations. It's a whole I believe it's like half an hour to 45 minutes they advertise the interview
Pretty long,
stage.
yes,
It's pretty in depth. You have to do your homework beforehand. So yeah, organizations really have to be at the peak of their powers to even make a community like that work. But hey ho, season 16 playoffs is actually going on right now, and then it's going to be application processes all over again. Tommy, is there plans there for RSC 17?
Potentially. I think main people with RC, they would have probably known that we've been on a lookout here and there. We've been talking to a few people on the background. I think we're coming actually a bit more close to something, maybe to have actually a team that we can actually um, have actually submit for us. It's some people with past experience already. So at least we will definitely apply. That's how it's looking like. I think it will be nice if we can join. I think as an orc as well, I think we can probably give some value to the league. So I hope that will help because we are in a sense sometimes a bit bigger than some of the orcs who are in there currently because they are more RC only in a sense, not competitively, for example, right? But that's totally okay. Like some orcs have been there for a very long time and are very successful. But what I'd also like, I'm pretty sure they don't, in a way, care that much. Let's say if you become last, you can even still be next season in the league. It's purely based on how you are as a manager, how you are as an orc. If you were the most supporting orc and you were serious, but you just had unfortunate something happened with the players or whatever, you weren't out of luck. You got the bad draft pick. That's it, you know. So I think we tried it before. You know that.
Yes.
2 seasons ago. That didn't continue in the end, but that was totally fine. Totally reasonable. Why not? Then I think last season we didn't do anything with it because we were more focused on other stuff. And yeah, now we're hopefully we can go next season. Let's see. If not, that will be totally okay. We'll probably try to work together maybe with one or two orgs in a sense, or maybe streaming in a sense, so we can help them boost that in a sense. As I have a contact with a huge talent pool of casters and producers, so that helps. It makes it a lot easier for me, for example, to organize streams. Like yourself.
Absolutely. DSQ, of course, been competing in RSC for quite some time as well, which is why I'm glad to mention that org and give them glad to mention that tournament, sorry, and give them a bit of love. In fact, I believe the debut episode of Behind the Screens was with owners of RSC, Archeon and Mutschuk. So if any of you watching at home wants some further information about RSC as a league, that was, I believe, just as they combined and ERS was discontinued to become RSC Legacy. You can see a very important part of RSC history. If you go back to the first episode, there you go. A little bit of a side tangent there. But I find it really interesting how such a big emphasis for everything Godalions feels like you don't just want to contribute to a player's career. You don't just want to participate in these tournaments. It's not just that, you want to build upon them as well. You want to see them reach that other level. You want to see them get advertised. You want to see them get streamed as well. I know that we've actually worked together to have some tournaments produced by Godalions that have a team running in there, but also doing it for other teams as well, just so
Mhm.
they have that opportunity. And it feels like overall, the more we've spoken about Godalions, that feels like a very core part of its identity. It's not a community org. It's not a top level org. It's, if anything, the bridge between. It's the bringing together. It's the building up. That's what Godalions looks to bring forward. So with that thought in mind, and the future of Godalions looking to continue, will this continue to be the ultimate aim for the organization as a whole, or would you ever see it going anywhere else, let's say 5 years down the line?
I don't know if I'm there in 5 years, of course. That's a long time. I don't know, but I don't. Maybe I am. But then, if it would be that long, I would. Yeah, it also purely depends on how esports would run, right? But I think we are. We still, our aim would still be either the upcoming season or maybe even season after. I, I probably think I would probably still be there in 2027 at least. Um, we'll make at least a day three, like a top 32. I think that's our goal that we really want to push towards. I think it is pretty hard without a decent funding behind it.
Mhm.
The economy of players, and I totally understand them. They often want something really more than streams. Back in the day, streams was the thing that I really loved. I think it's dying down a bit more because
Mhm.
you've a lot of great casts who would like just ask the team, "Can I cast for you as content for myself?" Right? So that also tends to make the value of a team stream paid by an org for a bit less because it's easier to get a
Yeah.
person to cast for you. Um, so it really depends how we are. Maybe we can find some great partners or sponsors to work with, and then we can push towards something high level. I believe last RCS we got like either the 41st or a 48 or something. So I think 1 or 2 games off
Yes,
day
it
three.
was.
So that was very close. So we are trying to push towards it. Yeah, it's just it purely depends on where Rocket League is going mainly, for example. And maybe it's a different game we are randomly exceeding in. Could also be the case. I think it's very open. But like I said, the current situation with esport and with the economics of esport, I think it's hard to for us at the
Mhm.
moment. Um, because yes, in theory we can afford it, but it's not the goal we would have is to make in a way splash a huge amount of money to get a very good team. We would probably want a team who is maybe an underdog who would get day three. And I think that's more what we would probably want to work long term with somebody and then pay for coaching to get them on a higher level, for example.
And I believe we are approaching time for the podcast, but this has been such a great conversation with you, Tommy. Are there any final things you want to shout out or mention before we close it down?
No, I don't think so. I think I was happy that I got the opportunity to talk. I think it's something I will probably want to do more in the sense of being there more out there. So yeah, if any team manager, coach, everyone wants to join us, you have a project, we are more than open to it. Join our Discord and make a ticket. I will react to you. You can see my online profile as well. That's the only thing. I would love to have more people in our community. Like we have such a good backing of people. Like you can probably speak for yourself. That's why you probably work with us because of
Yeah.
probably either the connection with me and Godalions you have. That's the reason because we tend to show the love to other people. That's why they work with us. We've also long-term content creators who love to work with us just because they love to work with the org itself. So
Yeah.
that's all. So if you want to find a loving place, come join us.
I can absolutely vouch for that. I've really enjoyed my time over at Godalions, whether that has been a part of their productions as a caster or helping, give newer casters opportunities as well, like you said, because there are so many places where there are Godalions teams, there
Mhm,
are different levels for different people, let's just say, for
mhm.
certain things. And that has been something I've really enjoyed whilst being a part of the Godalions team.
Glad
And
to hear.
pretty sure that's all of Godalions' socials. As per usual, with the Behind the Screens podcast will be linked below this video. I really hope that you enjoyed this pod. I know I certainly did. I felt like I saw a completely different side to Tommy than I've ever seen before, but I very much enjoyed. This was, of course, produced by the wonderful Fred Monster 2004. Live, I believe, edited for the most part, as per usual. Such a talented individual. Hit him up if you need a producer or someone to sim race for you. It has been myself, your host, Sir Pigasus, for DSQ's Behind the Screens podcast. Goodbye.